Hey guys, Toaster back. Strap yourselves in for a long one today. This is going to be another in-depth series, and we are on the map Highway, and there's one arty. We are top tier in this game, but this tank is basically a sniper. It's got a tier 5 hull on it. It's an M4 Revalorise, and not a particularly well armored tier 5 hull on it, and the turret is fairly similar. Occasionally you'll get a miracle bounce off the turret, but mostly if you get hit, you're going to get pinned, right? And we spot, well, we don't spot, but a light tank is making a hero run. Two light tanks are making hero runs. You know, it's tier 6 players. And so we're going to go up here and just try and pick up some shots. But unfortunately, our first few shots do not make contact. That shot on a T-43 should have pinned, but it didn't. So I noticed that this light tank is spotted and is parking right behind me, and so sometimes it's just like, why are you doing that? I don't understand. So we kind of nudge him out of the way because I do not want him to back up behind me, right? I do not want him to back up behind me and have me take damage for him. And you'll find players that do that, unfortunately. So you got to kind of keep your eyes peeled, especially in lower tier games. And so here it is, 2 minutes in, and that was a poor shot on my part. We just missed. But we've got 0 damage, 0 assist. But I'm keeping an eye on that T50 because what I don't want to do is get spotted here if I can help it. But it's kind of funny that T50 is just allowed to roam the open. However, we do end up getting spotted, and I assume that he is the one that spotted us. But the T25-2, rightly so, puts a shot in my rear, and we're just going to try and back off a little bit here. Finally, the light tank goes down. And one of the things that you'll notice, this is a very good map for light tanks, and all the light tanks are dead already. So don't do that, you guys. Try to survive if you can. Try to just bush camp for a little bit and give your team the advantage if you can. Now, one thing I want to give props to, as we pop up and see this Panther, we're able to put a nice shot in, but we get a bunch of assists because we've got all these snipers in the back. And we got a Charioteer, and we've got 2 Super Hellcats. But one thing I want to say is this E2 does a fantastic job. He sits in these bushes back here and spots anybody that's on that ridge. So we're going to go ahead and try and put shots into these guys. And we're finally able to connect a second shot, which puts us up to 800 damage, or 700 assist, give or take. And so we notice that we're losing the other side of the map, right? They've got way more than we do, but I cannot just charge in there and get focused down. So what we're going to do is sit here and be patient, and hopefully those guys will push. And that's kind of what they've done, is they've pushed up into the open, and we're going to go ahead and try and take some guys out. And that guy has juked me several times now, but we're going to keep trying shots. You know, these are free shots, so we're going to keep trying them. And with the 200 pen this gets, you bounce quite a bit, but it does have good shell velocity. And I don't generally use the heat shells in it. I mean, occasionally, if I'm in a tier 9 or a tier 10 game, I will sometimes. But we see that their Type 64 has pushed down and around, and I don't believe there's anybody else on that side. So we're going to go ahead and take him out, and I decide, looking at the map, they've won the city, right? So I've got to do something about this T-44. I've saved most of my health, and we're going to go ahead and use some of that health and try and take this guy out. Now, one thing advantage that I have is if I can catch him at a little distance, even if he pins me and I pin him, I do 400 or 390, he does 250. So I can out trade him, and I know he's lost a little bit of health already. So that's my hope, is that I can out trade him, and hopefully in 3 shots I can kill him. So let's see what happens here. I figure he's tucked in behind the building just waiting for his team to push up and win the game so that he can push in and get rear shots. And that's kind of what he's done. He's kind of just sitting back, waiting to see if somebody pushes, and we get an unfortunate shot into his track. So we're trying our best to stay Artie safe, but in reality, Artie is not really looking our way, which is fortunate, because once we clear this side of the map off, he's in trouble. So he is side on to me, and we're going to go ahead and take a shot into his side. I probably could have third person that, but he low rolls heavily, and we're able to put in a low roll of our own into him. And there's a high roll, but we still need one more shot, and he has gotten desperate, and he's rammed me. So it didn't go as well as I'd hoped, but we are able to take him out, and we still have 500 health. It's kind of surprising that the artillery did not shoot at me. I don't know what he was doing, quite honestly, because there's really nobody else spotted that I could see. So at this point, we know they're going to push into our cap, right? And so I'm just setting up for that. You see how I've got my view range circle far enough away from the cap that they're probably not going to see me when I fire? That's by design. But in reality, they are still hunkering down, and the Super Hellcat's doing a pretty nice job of spotting them. It's currently 9-11, and we decide we got to kind of see if we can shoot this SU-130 PM. He is by far the most dangerous tank, and we're able to get a nice blind shot on him. So keep in mind, we only have 1,500 damage here, but we're just trying to win the game. That is our whole goal, is to win the game. Now, we know both of these guys were last spotted over by the cap as our Super Pershing does finally go down. And the T-150 is not going to give us a shot. So look how long this E2 has survived. He's done a very, very good job. Not much to say here. I think I just told him to chill because I don't want him to die. Unfortunately, he does die. So it's now 11-13. They've got a guy on cap, and I've got myself and an artillery left, and they've got a T-150. And I don't know. Already is super stealth, I guess. We're able to hit the Comet, but there's a Comet, a T-150, and a T-28 Prot. So the issue is that because I have no armor, it presents a problem. The T-150 is the least of the problems, but the Prot has enough armor that it's going to be difficult for me to kill him. And the Comet just has DPM, right? And he could DPM me down. So what I do is I pull behind the bush and miss him. So, but the Artie did get a reset, and we're just trying to see if, and we pull back into this bush as he backs off, right? Now he's blind. He's probably not going to see me, but I wait until he gets behind the bush so I can kill him from stealth. And that's the kind of play that you need to make in order to secure games, right? Because you do not want a Prot knowing where you're at. Because I don't know what health he's on, but regardless, if he sees me, I'm a 2-shot for him, and I am going to have a very hard time penning him. And although I'm somewhat faster than he is, I'm not enough faster to escape in this wide open map, right? If I get seen and he starts pushing me it's highly likely that I'll get killed. So we've loaded our first heat round here. I don't use them very often, but 250 heat is still going to be a struggle against that prot, right? Because the turret cheeks are basically 200 to 210, I think. And that's if they're straight on. So I'm trying to find this prot before the comet shows up. And I'm not seeing the comet yet. And I'm not seeing the prot. So I assume that the prot maybe went into these bushes over here. It's just a guess. But you notice we're moving around the... I'm sorry about that phone call here. But we're moving around the map, and we're just trying to use bushes and cover in order to hide ourselves. And this comet makes a critical error by pulling out in front of me. He should have just tried to duck in and hide, because he's still got a teammate and he's still got an arty. That arty, I don't know if that arty is out of shells. No, he's not, because he hits me later. So I don't know. Maybe because every time I'm spotted, I'm somewhere else on the map. That might be the issue. He's having a hard time aiming in on me. But nevertheless, you'd think he would take shots. But that's not our issue, right? So the prot, we snapped that, and I should have aimed that. I should have aimed it, but I didn't. So now we're in trouble, right? We have a heavily armored tank, and we shoot pure green and miss. And we're tracked. So I don't use my repair kit yet, but that takes me down to a definite one shot for this TD. So I'm in trouble. But instead of just coming up over the hill on me, he decides to go around. And he's probably expecting me to come up behind him, but I don't want to take that fight. I don't want to take a fight where he knows where I'm at and he's pre-aimed. Because if he makes contact, he's going to pin my tank, right? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to vamoose. I'm going to kind of get out of here, and I'm loading HE, hoping that we can shoot him in the butt or shoot him in the side and at least get some damage on him. Maybe we can kill him with a HE round. That's kind of my hope, because the situation is dire, and we're down to 2 minutes left here. So one thing I'll say is that this prot doesn't seem like the best player in the world. So I assume, because he was sitting over here in the bushes forever. Why wasn't he trying to help Cap? Why wasn't he sitting up on this ridge over here by the bridge where he could have an overview? And we do spot him. And fortunately, he's just over the ridge. It looks like he's heading back to Cap. I don't know for sure, but we're going to go ahead and try and post up in these bushes, and we lose another 100 health. So we're definitely a one-shot. We're probably a one-shot for Artie or close to it right now. We're going to just post up and try and see if we can see this guy, and we do. Now, I got to wait because I got HE loaded, right? So I wait until the section of fences is broken to where I can get a clean shot on him. And now we're just moving around. There's 55 seconds left, and there's no way I'm making it to Cap. But look at our artillery. He is pushed up towards the enemy. So are we going to be able to win this? I took too long. I should have probably taken my chances with the prot, but I was afraid that he was going to cap out and our arty would be able to do nothing about it. And sure enough, I don't know if our tank, our ally, rammed him and died, or it says he was lost in battle. So maybe he fired too close to the enemy tank and the splash killed him. I don't know. But whatever he did, it was really smart play in order to win that game. I normally don't care for artillery players, but in this case, I got to say he moved around the map as he was needed to, and supported us properly, and was able to use his brain and use his tracks as opposed to just sitting in the corner and dying and complaining about the rest of the team. So, yeah, good game and kind of a good teaching opportunity on how to play a tank that does not have a lot of armor but has a decent gun, and using your alpha when you need to use your alpha, although we didn't execute that perfectly, but we were able to use it well enough to actually pull a win out of a game that should have probably been a loss. Let's look at the after action really quickly on this. Okay, at the after action, we did get a first class out of this and a high caliber. We were top of the team with our E2 lab experiment. Great game by you. He had 2 kills and 900 damage in a bottom tier game, and he did 1100 assists. So sitting in the position he sat really helped us out. I think the assist was from us, but at any rate, we fired 21 shots, only hit 13, and only penned 8. So that's a pretty poor pen ratio, but nevertheless, we had 900 assists. So, and I probably ought to shout out that Artie, because although I don't care for Artie much, Young Stone Ice Show, good job on your part, moving around the map and supporting. I do appreciate it. So that's not to say, one thing I will say, I would have preferred a regular tank as opposed to Artie. I would always prefer that, but he did a good job, and I've got to acknowledge that. So we ended up netting 30,000 credits, and this was on 3 times, so we ended up with 4,500 experience for our crew. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope that helps somebody. If you guys have questions or comments about the game, or if you'd like to see other replays or other situations, I can probably dig something up for you that I've played, or play a few games and get that situation to come up so I can help you play a better tank game. Appreciate you guys watching again. We'll catch you next time. Tonester out.